Today, we're diving into one of the most explosive characters in all of literature. A man who, honestly, is less a person and more a force of nature, Dmitri Karamazov. So what happens when a human being is basically a walking storm?
You know, the entire puzzle of Dmitri, or Mitya as he's often called, really just boils down to this one question. How can a single person be capable of such incredible nobility, and at the exact same time, such shocking depravity? He is a complete walking contradiction, and that's exactly what makes him so unforgettable.
And Dostoevsky gives us this brilliant way of seeing his inner conflict. Dmitri himself says his soul is a battlefield where God and the devil are at war. He's constantly torn between two powerful extremes, what he calls the ideal of the Madonna, that's his capacity for a pure spiritual kind of love, and the ideal of Sodom, which is his total surrender to raw physical passion. He doesn't just lean one way or the other, no, he contains both, completely and violently, all at once.
So what is fueling this internal war? Well, to really get Dmitri, we have to go inside his head a little bit and look at the psychological engine that makes him tick. And let me tell you, it is not about some grand plan. It's all about pure, unfiltered impulse.
Okay, so at his absolute core, Dmitri has basically zero impulse control. He lives completely and totally in the immediate moment. If he feels a wave of generosity, boom, he'll give away his last dollar. If he feels a flash of rage, he'll lash out with his fists. There's just no thought for the morrow, no reflection on yesterday. Now, this isn't necessarily evil, it's just pure chaotic energy.
And this brings us to his really unique and kind of strange mindset. See, he operates by this personal code of honor that is a complete paradox. He believes so deeply in paying his debts and making things right, but his methods, they're a disaster. He is perfectly willing to commit a brand new sin, like stealing from someone, just to settle an old debt and keep this warped sense of honor intact.
And you can see how this flawed honor just traps him in this terrible, destructive loop. It all starts with an impulse, right? That impulse makes him violate his own bizarre code. So to fix it, he commits another, often worse, act. And what's the result? He just sinks into an even deeper state of shame and self-hatred. It's this tragic cycle he just can't seem to break out of.
But here's the thing. Dmitri is way more than just a psychological case study in chaos. Dostoevsky elevates him into this incredibly powerful symbol, a symbol that's meant to represent the very essence of the Russian spirit itself.
For Dostoevsky, Dmitri is like the raw material of the Russian soul. He's wild, he's passionate, and he's completely untamed by logic. But, and this is so important, within that wild heart lies this immense capacity for goodness. He represents a nation of extremes, one that's capable of both terrible sin and the most profound spiritual redemption.
And here we get to a really crucial distinction. Dmitri's path to faith isn't through some intellectual debate. He doesn't sit around and analyze whether God exists. He just feels God's presence, in beauty, in love, even in suffering. It's a connection that's born from the heart, not from the mind.
The contrast with his brother, Ivan, makes this crystal clear, right? Where Dmitri is all heart, all passion, Ivan is pure mind, pure logic. Now for Dostoevsky, this isn't just a family squabble. Ivan represents the cold, rational, intellectual ideas of the West, the kind that analyzes God until there's nothing left. Meanwhile, Dmitri embodies the passionate, intuitive soul of Russia. They are two sides of a fundamental debate about humanity itself.
So this life of chaos, this life of passion, it's all leading somewhere. It leads Dmitri straight into a crucible, a real trial by fire that is either going to completely destroy him or forge him into something entirely new.
And the charge, it could not be more horrific. Dmitri, a man who has openly and loudly threatened his own father, is accused of murdering him. I mean, all the evidence, all of his violent outbursts, everything points directly at him.
And even though he's innocent of the actual murder, the court finds him guilty. His whole life of chaos has finally caught up to him in the worst way possible. He's condemned for a crime he did not commit.
And right here, this is the astonishing turn. Instead of raging against the injustice, what does Dmitri do? He accepts his fate. This isn't him giving up. This is the single most important moment of his entire transformation. So the big question is, why?
I mean, why would an innocent man accept a guilty verdict? Well, first, he sees it as penance.
He might not have landed the final blow, but he fully admits that he wanted his father dead. Second, he sees it as atonement for his entire wild, chaotic life. But the most profound reason? He accepts it for the babe, which is his symbol for all the innocent suffering in the world. He decides he needs to suffer alongside them, taking responsibility not just for his own actions, but for all of humanity.
This moment of acceptance really marks the final stage of his incredible journey. It's where Dmitri Karamazov finally finds his purpose, not in getting what he wants, but in embracing what he has to endure.
This is what completes his transformation. Think about it. He starts the story screaming about his rights, his inheritance, his money. He ends it willing to be exiled to Siberia for a crime he didn't even commit, all while accepting this universal responsibility for the pain of other people. It's a complete 180.
Ultimately, Dmitri's story proves this incredibly powerful idea. His brilliant, intellectual brother Ivan is completely destroyed by his own logic. But Dmitri, the man of impulse and passion, is the one who finds redemption. His heart is purified, not by thinking his way to being a better person, but by being burned clean in the fire of suffering and real, raw experience. And that leaves us with one final, lingering thought. Dmitri's whole journey seems to suggest that real transformation, true redemption, requires a complete shattering of who you thought you were. It forces us to ask ourselves, can a heart truly be redeemed without first being broken? That's a question that lies right at the center of his unforgettable story.